I'm back. Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy Zedder, and I am here to bring you guys part 3 for What If Naruto Had Bakugo's Quirk. Yes, guys, I know. Your boy been gone for a little bit, but I miss y'all way too much, and I just had to come back to y'all and bring y'all another banger. But anyways, as you guys already know, last time we pretty much left off with the Tsunade exams and Naruto essentially beating Kiba. Not really too much to cover there. You know, we basically went over the Land of Waves mission. Naruto won. He's pretty powerful, and he ended up actually bodying Kiba really badly. So, that being said, guys, we're going to get into the recap before the video gets started, after the intro. And then, we're just going to go ahead and, say it with me, boys. Get started. Okay, so as I already said, we pretty much went over the Land of Waves mission. We also went over like a little bit of the training within Sasuke, Naruto. Sasuke ended up unlocking the Sharingan. Naruto ended up becoming extremely powerful. And, well, everything's going pretty well for now. That being said, though, guys, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's been a little bit of time ever since I did this series. So, in terms of ship, I'm not going to focus on that to the next part just because I kind of forgot who the ship was. But yeah, that being said, let's get a move on with the story. Okay, so wait, no, I'm gonna go watch. Hold on, give me a second, boys. Okay, I just checked who I shipped him with. It was Hinata. Hinata's on Team 7. It's been a minute, boys. It's definitely been a minute. Okay, so anyways, after everything had happened, Naruto would essentially proceed to walk around the village, and he would pretty much just start resting, as well as deciding what he's going to do for the month of training that he has. During this time, he would decide that he's going to take the day off and essentially just go over to some hot springs. As he would arrive, he would see an old pervy guy with white hair sitting on top of a toad, spying on some girls. As he would go over there and say, "Hey, what are you doing here?" As Jiraiya would say, "Get lost, kid." As we would then have Naruto looking at him with a weird expression on his face. I really just said expression. Expression on his face. As he would proceed to look towards Jiraiya and say, "The hell did you say to me, old man?" As Jiraiya would look at Naruto one good time and say, "Oh, it's you. I was looking for you, Naruto." As Naruto would say, "What? What do you want?" As Jiraiya would get off with the toad and he would say, "I am the legendary Sannin." As Naruto would look at him with a blank expression on his face, saying, "Look, dude, I don't care what you think you are. You need to stop peeping on these ladies before I do something about it." As he would get into a fighting stance, and Jiraiya would then, raise an eyebrow at this, saying, "So you want to fight me, is that?" As he would say, "All right, let's dance." As he would proceed to essentially instantly jump into the air, as he would shoot a bunch of hair needles at Naruto, which Naruto would create an explosion right in front of him that would melt all of the little hairs. As Naruto would basically proceed to rush towards Jiraiya, and they would get into a pretty great taijutsu bout, as they would begin to throw hands all over the place, with Jiraiya dodging each and every one of Naruto's attacks. Naruto would be quite surprised, and Jiraiya would actually be really proud of his godson, seeing as he's extremely powerful. And that strange KK Genkai ability of his is off the charts strong. As Naruto would proceed to use that weird ability of him to start moving more unorthodox, as Jiraiya would not be able to keep up with Naruto's movements, and this would cause Jiraiya to slip up. As he wouldn't be able to get a good read on Naruto, this would cause Jiraiya to have a major slip up, as Naruto would shoot a straight explosion into Jiraiya's gut. As Jiraiya would be sent into the air, he would basically cough out some blood, as Naruto would blitz over there and say, "AP shot!" As he would blast it straight through one of Jiraiya's sides, and Jiraiya would hold his gut, as he would then basically say, "Wind bullet jutsu." So he shoots it straight at Naruto. Naruto would proceed to get taken down by that, as Jiraiya would then flip onto the ground saying, "Rasengan!" As he would slam it straight into Naruto's gut, and Naruto would proceed to get knocked out straight away from that blow. As after this, Naruto would basically be unconscious, and a couple of hours later, he would wake up, seeing Jiraiya right next to him, as he would say, "What was that?" As Jiraiya would say, that was the Rasengan. As Naruto would say, "So, can you teach me it?" As Jiraiya would look towards Naruto and he would proceed to say, I don't know, can you keep up? As Naruto would kind of, do a little bit of a growl. As Jiraiya would say, easy there, kid, I'll teach you. As Naruto would chuckle and say, better. As we would then have Naruto and Jiraiya essentially working on the Rasengan early. And this version of Naruto would actually still end up learning it in 1 week due to his weird and unorthodox methods. But the first two steps, let's just say that are pretty easy, since he has a pretty good control over his chakra natures. And I'm pretty sure that I'd said that I gave him fire and lightning, fire and wind. I gave him fire and wind. Yes, I gave him fire, not lightning. I gave him fire and wind. And from there, Naruto would basically be taught the summoning jutsu by Jiraiya, as well as practicing that weird jutsu of his, the flying Raijin. He would show Jiraiya this jutsu, and they would spend the last week or so basically trying to get Naruto to learn the jutsu. He would continue to struggle with learning it, but slowly he would start to kind of understand what the properties are. However, he wouldn't exactly be able to even use the jutsu just yet, seeing as it drains a massive amount of chakra from him, seeing as he doesn't know how to properly use the technique. So, we would essentially have Naruto go back to the Chunin exams, as he would face off against Neji Hyuga, as he had previously, of course, ended up stopping Neji from basically ending his girl. Like they had a pretty dope battle, don't get me wrong, because Hinata in this version had Naruto there to always train, meaning that Neji low-key respected her more, but, he kind of did hit his girl, so Neji's gonna pay. That being said, Naruto would arrive at the arena, as he would have basically used the body flicker, and Neji would smile as he would say, it's your destiny to lose to me here. As Naruto would say, don't give me any of that destiny crap. I ain't here to listen to that stuff. As Neji would smile and he would look towards him and say, your funeral. As he would proceed to get into his little stance, and Naruto would chuckle to himself, thinking that this is going to be too easy. As he would say, Shadow Clone Jutsu! And all the Shadow Clones would come in out of nowhere, as Naruto would look towards Neji and say, you ready to give up now? As Neji would laugh and he would say, rotation! Rotation jutsu or whatever the thing is that he uses. As he would begin to spin, and all of the Naruto clones would end up having a hard time and getting popped. As Naruto would, basically rush towards Neji, but he would have actually had one of the clones go underground as he grabs Neji's legs, dragging him into the ground using the Headhunter jutsu. As Naruto would proceed to use an explosion on his leg, kicking Neji straight in the skull for an instant knockout. As Naruto, after that, Neji would have been instantly taken down. He would then look towards him and say, pathetic. I didn't even get to use my strongest jutsu. Destiny this, destiny that. The only destiny here was that I was gonna beat you, you weakling. How about you get stronger and stop talking about some destiny? As Neji would fall into unconsciousness, and the next battle would begin a lot sooner than it did in canon. So in this version, let's just say that Sasuke made it a little faster and barely avoided to get basically disqualified. As Sasuke and Gaara would get into their same fight, and things would pretty much go as usual. Sasuke still can't pierce Gaara's sand shield, seeing as, he is way more powerful, but the only attack that he has is the Chidori. So he would still end up making Gaara bleed, and Gaara would still freak out running into the forest. As Naruto would see what had happened, he would then look towards Sasuke and nod his head as Sasuke would say, right. And Naruto would then basically go to Hinata as he tells her that she needs to help out around the village as much as she can. And she would say, right, Naruto-kun. Oh wait, let me do that again. Right, Naruto-kun. Oh yeah, I can't do that right now. Right, Naruto-kun. I can't do it. That's so cringy. But anyways, I can do it sometimes. Naruto-kun. There we go. She would say, right, Naruto-kun. There we go. I got it. Anyways, that being said, comment down below, guys, if you got this far. Comment Naruto-kun if you got this far. Please do me that favor. And don't roast me too bad for that, what I just said. Anyways, that being said, Naruto would then proceed to look towards Sasuke as he would blitz on over there. And he would end up taking care of Kankuro and Temari both single-handedly before they can even stop him. This would lead into Sasuke and Naruto actually tag teaming Gaara. And as soon as Naruto whips out the giant toad, it's pretty much over. He would proceed to shoot a bunch of AP shots at Gaara while he's on top of Shukaku. And one of the shots would have actually ended up hitting Gaara, waking him up and causing Shukaku to go away. As from there, Sasuke would blitz on in there using a Chidori, as he would slam it into Gaara's back, piercing him, and this would actually end up killing Gaara. Because, well, he attacked the village, so Sasuke has no real reason to not, well, kill the man. That being said, after this, Naruto would say, Sasuke, why did you... As Sasuke would say, he attacked the village, Naruto. As Naruto would basically look towards Gaara, and he would get angry as he would spit on Gaara's dead corpse, saying he deserved it. As they would basically run back, and this one we would see Jiraiya and Hiruzen fighting against Orochimaru. As they would actually end up tag teaming him, and they would actually end up winning the battle, with Hiruzen actually being able to take out Orochimaru. All of him, not just his arms, not just a little part of him, but every single piece, his entire soul. Jiraiya's assistance would actually lead towards this outcome, and after this, we would then essentially have the cleanup happening as usual, with Hiruzen dying. Naruto would have had to stand outside as he saw Hiruzen's life force drain in front of his eyes, as Jiraiya was helpless to stop it. After the barrier was taken down, Naruto would blitz Jiraiya and hit him on the chest as he would say, why didn't you stop him? You could have saved Lord Third. The old man didn't deserve to die. As Jiraiya would just hold Naruto in for a hug, and he would say, I know, Naruto. I know. As Naruto and Jiraiya would then grieve for the next couple of days, and it is after this where they would essentially be told that they need to go looking for a next Hokage. As they would of course go on their little trip, except this time, instead of learning any jutsu like normal, Naruto's chakra affinity with water, fire and wind would be so exponentially great that Jiraiya would actually decide to let Naruto train on whatever jutsu he wants. As they would go on the quest, and of course, they would still be attacked by Itachi and Kisame. Except this version would have a lot of a bigger change. Also, by the way, guys, if you guys heard that, that was just my laptop basically telling me that I have low battery. Yeah, low battery. Give me a second. Alright guys, I'm back. So anyways, as I was saying, Itachi and Kisame would pull up at the door with their bloodlust after Jiraiya pretty much leaves Naruto, like the incompetent person he is. How do you just leave that? I mean, I get it, he's powerful, but come on, bro. Like, you gotta leave the kitty for later and, you know, train your whole student. Or godson. Not only is he just a student, but that's his whole godson right there. Imagine he dies and he meets Kushina in heaven. Oof. That talk will be beautiful. Anyways, that being said, Naruto would sense the bloodlust coming off of Itachi and Kisame, as he would have immediately created a clone, and he would use the body flicker to get outside of the building, as the clone would continue to fight Itachi and Kisame. As soon as the battle would start, Itachi would put Naruto into a genjutsu, or the clone, and Naruto would have actually been far gone, running from rooftop to rooftop, as he would scream, Jiraiya! As Jiraiya would proceed to basically see Naruto, and Naruto would basically say, good, now we can go back and take down those Akatsuki members. I knew I couldn't take them on myself as much as I wanted to, but with your help, we can kill those, you know, Basterds. I can't say that word because I'll probably get demonetized. But anyways, that being said, you guys know what I mean. Yeah, that. As they would rush back, and immediately Jiraiya would activate the Toad Mouth Jutsu, as the encounter would pretty much go by the same. As soon as Jiraiya arrived, Itachi would use Materasu flames to get out of there, and Sasuke would actually not even be told by Itachi that he has to embrace his hatred, leading into Sasuke actually having a little bit of a different time when they arrive back at the village, but that's going to be covered on a later date. Or no, actually on the same episode, but just a couple minutes later. That being said, they would end up taking Sasuke on the mission, and he, Naruto, Sasuke, and Jiraiya would essentially go on to pretty much go meet Lady Tsunade at the bar. As in this version, Orochimaru would have never gave her the offer of bringing back her loved ones. Tsunade wouldn't actually be drunk, and she would have barely started drinking. As they would have a pretty normal conversation. However, she would still start insulting the Hokages, leading into Naruto basically saying that she needs to take that back. She would say she's not. Naruto would slam down on the table as he would say, how dare you talk about Lord Third like that? I'll kill you. As he would tell her to meet him outside. As she would break the table and say, fine, kid. As they would step outside, and she would say, how about a little bet? If I win, you pay off all of my tabs. And if you win, I'll go back and become Hokage, as well as give you this necklace. As Naruto would smile and say that this is going to be a piece of cake. As, Tsunade would look at him and say, piece of cake. That right. As we would then essentially have Naruto looking towards her, as he would immediately get pretty angry. And this is when Naruto would take out a kunai with a marking on it, as Tsunade would have told him that all he needs to do is land one hit. As their battle would start, and Naruto would immediately try to land any hits at all, using his explosion quirks to try to land any hits, using the weirdest movements of all. But Tsunade, not being, drunk, being sober, would actually be able to dodge them just barely, each and every blow. As they would be going at it for a solid amount of time, Naruto's anger would get the best of him, as some of the Kyuubi's chakra would lunge out, as his speed would grow miraculously, and his chakra pool would grow exponentially. Naruto, realizing this, would think of a plan, as he would take out a kunai and throw it straight at Tsunade. As she would dodge the kunai and she would say, "You missed." As Naruto would then proceed to say, "Did I?" As he would teleport right behind her using the flying rising technique, draining almost all of his chakra except for a small amount. As he would then instantly weave the hand signs with one hand and say, "Rasengan!" Sorry for headphone users. As Tsunade would get thrown into the ground, and she would start bleeding instantly, as she would say, "Jiraiya." She would say, "How could you teach this boy that?" As soon as she recovers using her medical ninjutsu, she would then heal up Naruto. She would say, "A bet's a bet," as they would end up going back to the village, and Tsunade would actually have no choice but to return and become the 5th Hokage of the Konoha village. That being said, this would then essentially lead us into what is essentially the 3-year time skip. Sasuke would not go with the Sound 4, seeing as Itachi never told him, "You don't have enough hatred." And when the Sound 4 arrived, due to Sasuke not exactly being by himself, he and Naruto would have actually been training, leading into Naruto and Sasuke essentially bodying the Sound 4 before they can do anything. And the very next day, Kinemaro, or the Bone User, would have actually ended up trying to take Sasuke by force after the Sound 4 had failed. But seeing as Jiraiya, Tsunade, Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, Might Guy, all of the elite shinobi are there on site, what is this man gonna do? Like this man's basically crippled with his little disease. He literally caught the Hashirama. And that being said, this would pretty much lead us into, well, the 3-year time skip. This would actually go by a lot different, seeing as Naruto would have actually ended up asking if Hinata could come by, but Hinata would have actually told Naruto that she's actually going to stay, seeing as the new 5th Hokage is actually going to train her in medical ninjutsu, leading into Hinata actually learning a little bit of what it's like to be a medical ninja, and this would definitely help the team out in the long run. That being said, we're now actually going to cover the time skip, which is going to be pretty dope to say the least. As soon as the time skip starts, we basically are going to be covering the 3 years. They would go on mission to mission, saving every village and going on the same missions that they did in canon, except it would be easier, seeing as they would actually have Kakashi and Sasuke tagging along with them for some of them, with Kakashi and Sasuke leaving every now and then, just to go do their own training separately. That being said, we would essentially have what I already said happening, and they would end up basically doing a little bit of training. At this point, Naruto and Sasuke would have both mastered each and every elemental chakra nature change, and they would have also both ended up mastering their respective jutsus, with Sasuke getting to about the same power level that he was in canon, except let's just say that he has more of a chakra pool, his Sharingan's more refined, and he's more cool-headed and more cool. He's not exactly freaking out about things like he was in the original. Things would be a lot more calm and collected. That being said, this would essentially lead us into Naruto's training. During the 3-year time skip, Naruto would have had just enough time to essentially learn the flying Raijin as well as Sage mode. He would have ended up being a perfect Sage after the last month that they had. He would have ended up refining the flying Raijin about 2 months before this, and he would have ended up mastering all the techniques that he did in the original. He would have actually ended up mastering the chakra change, and he would have actually ended up having the Rasengan with him, as well as mastering 6 tails of the 9 tails. And Naruto's outfit, well, let's just say that Naruto at this point is now going to officially have the Bakugo outfit that we see on the image, except he doesn't have the cloak around him. He's going to get that later when he unlocks KCM2. KCM 1's gonna be, it's gonna be alright, but KCM 2, he gonna look so clean. He would look essentially what he looks like in the thumbnail, and he would look like a mix between Naruto and Bakugo, a hybrid of sorts, I guess you could say. That being said, it would essentially lead us into them returning into the village, and once they do, Tsunade would of course pull the little, yo, you guys have to do the bell test against me, Jiraiya, and Kakashi. As Jiraiya and Kakashi would look at each other and they would say, no, they're not going to do no such thing, and I'm not participating. As Jiraiya at this point, he's had his ASS kicked one too many times. Let's just say that's the least that Jiraiya wants to do. At this point, Jiraiya had pretty much been terrified of fighting Naruto because he's far too powerful. Not a single attack of Jiraiya's can even affect Naruto at this point. And this man, Naruto, just grown so much that he's just unrecognizable. He has so much strength and power within him, and it's great. But after hearing this, Tsunade would say, yeah, understandable. As soon as they arrive at the village, they would end up basically talking about the situation regarding the Akatsuki. And, well, Jiraiya would still pull his dumb move of going to the hidden rain village. Why would you ever go to the rain village and try to face the leader of the Akatsuki? Anyways, that's a dumb question. Anyways, Jiraiya would get bodied. He would get killed by the pain. And the message would come back like in canon. Everything on Shikamaru's side would pretty much go as it did in canon. And Naruto would actually end up helping them out with that situation with his Kakuzu, hitting him with one Rasen Shuriken to kill both of them, with Shikamaru taking the other guy out, and the news arriving back to the village of Jiraiya's death. After hearing this, Naruto would immediately grab all of his things, and instead of falling into a depression, he would fall into a rage, which can only be quenched by the death of each and every Akatsuki member. Naruto's anger would overtake him, as he would immediately use the flying Raijin to teleport over to a location which he had already previously marked. He would then proceed to basically, for the next couple of months, be gone from the village, and he would end up massacring each and every single one of the Akatsuki members, starting with Deidara and Sasori. He would have ended up essentially using a barrage of Rasen Shurikens. He would have created 10 in his hands by using, the 9 tails as chakra. And he would have actually ended up, let's retcon a little something. During the time that Naruto was training there 3 years, he mastered the 9 tails. And he has access to KCM2. Yes. OP Naruto, but this is Bakugo Naruto we're talking about, so it's pretty doable. Plus, he has some motivation. And let's also say Sasuke learned Snake Sage Mode just to make him a little more powerful. That being said, this would lead into Naruto destroying each and every Akatsuki member. He would tear each and every one of them limb from limb. And as soon as he arrives to Nagato's location, he would rip out Nagato's eyes, replacing those with his own. And he would immediately take down Nagato. He would realize that it's the smartest thing to do to take the Rinnegan, seeing as, well, it's a Rinnegan, bro. Like, bro, come on. It's a Rinnegan. You gotta do the Rinnegan. He would end up, actually, retcon that. He would take one of the Rinnegans. He would give another one to Sasuke, seeing that is his bro right there. That's his brother right there. That's his flesh and blood almost. As Sasuke would actually end up giving Naruto one of his Sharingan, and this would lead into both of them having the same eyes. Sasuke would have ended up killing Kisame and Itachi without Team Heavy or Taka or any of this weird stuff, and Naruto and Sasuke would have ended up double teaming Obito, which would result in a pretty great battle. There's nothing great about this battle. Yes, at first, I'm not going to lie to you guys, Naruto and Sasuke would struggle. Obito's jutsu is extremely overpowered, but this battle, would go like this. As soon as everything starts, Naruto would try to go in with the first, shooting an explosion in his face, but Obito would go straight through it, and he would end up pretty much destroying Naruto first. This would lead into Sasuke using his Sage Mode, and Naruto activating his own, as well as KCM2, as they would both end up blitzing Obito and actually landing hits. They would end up starting to hit Obito faster than he can even react, and to land the final blow, Naruto would have done something so reminiscent to the fourth that Obito would realize who this kid is. Naruto would be his last and final breath, as Naruto would have thrown the flying Raijin Kunai behind him and thrown a Rasen Shuriken right at the back of Obito, powered with his explosion. So it would be something similar to the Lava Rasen Shuriken, which nearly murdered Ten Tails Madara, might I add. And yeah, this would stop the Great Shinobi World War, as well as any other conflicts that were in the series. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I didn't even have any of this planned. I didn't think I was gonna finish the series so fast, but this episode was definitely pretty fast paced. I do apologize for some of you guys who are like, yo, this was too fast, but I think it's a pretty well deserved ending to the series. And this is what I believe would happen if Naruto had Bakugo's explosions. Hope you guys enjoyed this series, guys, as I had an absolute blast. Get it? Blast. I had an absolute blast making this series, and it was so fun. I'm telling you guys, this was extremely fun. I had a great time making this series. It was pretty great. It was pretty great to say the least. And I definitely will enjoy doing more Naruto what ifs down the line. So make sure to go down below and comment some what if Naruto ideas, as I will be reading a couple. And if I respond to you, and if I don't respond to you and just like it, just know I saw it, but not really gonna do it. But if I respond to you and I'm like with some like eyes or something like that, just know I'm interested in the idea. That being said though, guys, thank you guys for tuning in to What If Naruto had Bakugo's Explosions. And as always, guys, you know the drill. It has been your boy Zether, and I am out. Peace.